We got some new Z Fold devices, Z Fold 7, Z Flip 7 as well. 3 colors for the Fold 7 and 1 for the Flip 7. This is my first exposure to them. I suspect what we're gonna see is something slimmer than previous generations. That's my speculation. What I have here is 3 256 models, one called Jet Black, the other Ombre Blue, and oh, sorry, that's the French term. Blue Shadow, and the other called Silver Shadow. So ombre means shadow in French, in case you're wondering. The other model is gonna be available in Blue Shadow, Jet Black, and Coral Red. Let's start with the Z Fold 7. Ooh. And as suspected, because I had unboxed this special edition of the Z Fold, the previous generation, but special edition, which really felt like an entirely new phone. And I was curious if this particular design was going to make its way into the next generation of Fold that would be launched in North America. And it turns out that we're even thinner. We are even thinner right now. Wow. So today's episode has been sponsored by Latercase and the new Andes 1500. Look at this beast of a power station. This could be you sitting in the Andes with your drone and your drink, taking a little nap. Could be you, Will. So this is 1462 watt hours. You can power a lot of things with 3600 watts. Should be pretty rugged, that's my guess. Big display. It looks like it's also got a light. We can also expand this via this extra battery port. We have 18 watt USB times 4, 2 100 watt type C, 12.6 volt DC, and a car socket as well. Here's your power switch. Oh, RGB lighting on the top. I don't think I've seen one of these with that before. So this thing's got 1462 watt hours of capacity, and the AC output delivers a total of 2400 watts with a surge up to 3600 watts, which will allow you to power and charge a variety of appliances. It's got ultra fast charging, so once this is depleted and you need to charge it back up to full, it can do so in under an hour, which is impressive for something with this much capacity. It'll perform up to minus 20 Celsius, which is minus 4 Fahrenheit, and it can retain 80% capacity even in those conditions. They're also proud of how quiet it is. They say that it operates under 30 dB. It's IP55 dust and water resistant. It has a 5-year warranty and 8 years of standby. So they've actually got a deal going on right now for Prime Day, so if you want to check it out, see the description. We've got the relevant links down there. So it's boxier. It no longer has that curvature to it. What about this? We can compare it to this Oppo over here. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is crazy slim. Pardon me?
Can I see that?
I remember when I first placed my hands on this Oppo device, I was like, how did they do it? How did they? And here we are now. Samsung has outdone that. Wow. Wow. I'm just holding that there, and that is a wow factor. That is nearly the thickness of a typical non-folding smartphone. That's the area that we're in now. We are very close to that. And it really, when you hold it in its folded formation, it feels like a substitute for a standalone phone until obviously you go ahead oof, this is that.
Okay, Will.
Hey, Will, come over here.
Oh, no.
Come on,
I'm filming over here.
No! I am gonna say right now, it is a little tougher to get it open. Now, maybe that is just a consequence of having something this thin. Like, you can see my thumbs trying to deal with that, but it's tough to get a grip in there, a little tough. Is it a deal breaker? I don't know, I just placed my hands on it. Of course, you could always throw a Latercase on. I don't know if that's gonna improve the situation. We do have our Latercases ready to go for this model. Look at this. It gives you a little more grip there in order to open it up. And obviously, some protection for a relatively fragile device. Check out the Latercase options. This is the classic. We've got all the colors available, so you can get the blue, the red, we have the coffee color, and also screen protectors as well. The details are in the description, so check that out. Okay, let's look at the other colors real quick. So this is the silver. Next, we have the black, and then we have, oh, the blue is kind of nice. That's a nice blue. You guys let me know in the comments which one of those you prefer. And then the Z Flip, the new Z Flip, same unboxing experience, USB-C cable, and a SIM tool. This blue is identical, and obviously this is your portable choice because this thing in its folded configuration, oof, that is sleek. Look at that little guy. You don't even feel that in the pocket. Boom. Open state, and you're getting a generous screen size. Let's talk a little bit about specs actually. So this one is 6.9 inches, 120 hertz on the inside. Resolution 2520 by 1080 FHD plus. And on the outside, what they call the flex window, 4.1 inch, also 120. 948 by 1048 on the outside. So sort of a square aspect ratio. Storage configurations for the Flip, you're either gonna select 256 or 512 versus the Z Fold, in which case you can go all the way up to 1 terabyte. Both got 12 gigs of RAM. And this is interesting, the battery is only slightly bigger on the Fold compared to the Flip. So 4,400 milliamp hours versus 4,300 milliamp hours on the Flip model, meaning the Flip could be the battery champion of the two of them, depending on how efficiently you use it. But obviously, even if you use it primarily in its unfolded state, it should be a little bit more power efficient than the unfolded state of the much larger display on the Z Fold. 188 grams versus 216, that's a little closer than you might expect, considering the fact that the footprint here is so much larger. 2184 by 1968. It is definitely more resolution, but not double. QXGA plus. And then the cover display here is still generous. 6.5 inches, 2520 by 1080 HD plus. This is Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2 on the outside. That is a big display. There is a lot of equipment packed into this device, considering how slim it is. Like, just look at how thin that thing is. It's shockingly thin. I mean, it's hard to even get it across on camera. Like, in the unfolded state, it is way slimmer than a typical phone. On the Z Fold, you're getting the extra camera module here. So we have 12 megapixels f2.2 ultra wide, 200 megapixel f1.7 wide, 10 megapixel f2.4 for the telephoto. There's no telephoto on the Flip model. You're only getting ultra wide and wide at 12 megapixels f2.2 and then a 50 megapixel f1.8. And then also we're having a little bit more of a protrusion of the camera modules on the Fold compared to the Flip. They're both IP48 rated for weather resistance. And here is probably the biggest difference between the two, the chip. The Flip is packing an octa-core Samsung Exynos 2500, whereas the Fold has a Snapdragon 8 Elite. And they say for Galaxy. Also octa-core. The adaptive is very responsive, the adaptive refresh. A lot of contrast, potent saturation. The benefit here, the experience on one of these folding devices of being able to kind of multitask, whether that's in a split window scenario or even just the ability to scroll for what you're gonna watch next or possibly read comments while you're watching something. You just have so much more space than you would on a typical phone. Another benefit of a folding device is that the speaker orientation sort of fit the viewing orientation or the way that you hold the device when you're watching. They're right at ear level, and you've got one for your left and one for your right. And because you have more phone to grip, you're never obscuring or covering those speaker grills, so they're always completely clear. I guess my iPad, he was actually giving them to athletes, and they were using them for warm-up and recovery. 2 USB cables, obviously. Now, when it comes to the Flip, there was a moment in time where these things were shrinking, and the actual advancements and the impressive engineering was all about scaling these things down in size. And this one is the closest, from a mainstream point of view, that we have to that old idea that these should be less cumbersome. And they try to do it in such a way, obviously, if you're familiar with the Flip, that doesn't really compromise the smartphone experience when it's unfolded. And sound, extremely potent sound as well.
Top-notch presentation. Look at the gold on the inside of the paper. Unbox Therapy, Lewis, step into the future of audio with JBL's latest masterpiece.
This is the benefit of using the external cameras as the selfie cameras, is they're so much more capable. Check it out. Now, what if I go to the wide? There's something to this.
That's kind of nice, actually.
Mo, there's something to this. Hey, welcome to Spain. Let me show you around. Why am I in Spain? It's a bit of fun. The different form factors, it gets you thinking differently. You start developing software for that type of interaction if you're Samsung, like assuming that people are going to be recording themselves in this fashion here and having their own tripod available at all times. But let's just jump back to the cameras on the Fold for a quick moment here. 1x, 2x, 3x. Whoa. Holy moly. Am I right or am I right?
That is so
Oh. Careful, Mo. You're getting carried away. It's kind of nice. You know what? It's kind of nice. What you're doing there, it's kind of nice. Is that your go-to saying?
line.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. On second thought, that was kind of nice. I know most of my things go back to Duke Nukem, all right? I know that. These are just impressive feats of engineering. I'm glad that Samsung came to play in the thinner smartphone world. It is a bit curious that the battery life is so comparable between these two, and the fact that they're comparable in terms of like weight and scale in general. Maybe that's more impressive on the fold side, because it's like, this thing just, it feels like nothing. It feels so thin and light now at this point. For such a big screen, that's cool. This would convince a lot more people that this substitute is worthwhile. However, you're still gonna have to get over that cost, because these things are going to be more expensive, smaller market, higher margin. I mean, they're gonna have to be, because it's the engineering involved is just more extensive than it would be for a standard slab style smartphone. Then again, even your typical slab style smartphone has gone up in cost substantially. If you're looking at any pro variant of the iPhone, you're getting close. And arguably this one does more than those do in terms of its versatility. Maybe my intrigue in the Flip is just the fact that I've been a fold guy for so long. But either way, extremely impressive engineering. A little bit tougher to get open in this regard. As a consequence, maybe there's no way around that. Bring your thumbs, maybe they're different than mine.
I actually think I have
Boom.
kinda skinny thumbs.
A skinny, dude, relax. You were jittering.
I'm telling you, for me, I have to put a lot of force, like pressure. And when I do that, I get worried that my pressure is gonna slip and then I'm gonna have one of these.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's got a little swing to it, wouldn't you say? You know what, it really doesn't matter because I'm gonna put this on anyway. This portion of the case is elevated slightly where the volume rocker is. Mo, get back over here.
This is what you said, right? Your finger,
You still practically dropped it there. Jesus, this guy.
It's way better with the case.
With the case lip, yeah. Okay, that solves that problem. You guys let me know in the comments, which are you more intrigued by? Is it going to be the new Fold or will it be the new Flip? And which color would you choose as well? These are not slabs. They're not slabs. They're new and they're not slabs.